Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. This will be part 3 of our sewing class of the business casual outfit. We already made the blouse, we made a hoodie shirt, and in this video I will make the skirt. And I think you already knew I won't make the pants because I'm not really a pants person. I always wear skirts. And I have really been debating, shall I make for this time make a pants, but I won't, because I think I will be just wasting the fabric and I don't like that, and the pants will just be in my closet, never worn, and I don't want to do that. But if you want to make the pants to the outfit, I have a sewing class on my channel how to make a pattern for 3 different kinds of trousers, so you can make with that video, with that pattern, every trouser that there is. And you can just choose the pattern that you like, and I will leave it up here and down in the description box the video where you can make that pattern yourself to your own sizing. It doesn't cost anything, you can just draw along and you can choose then what pattern you want for what pants you want to make. So do that. You can make just a jog pants or a more dress pants type or whatever you like for this outfit. I would go in between. I like the pants that the picture has, but I wouldn't put the elastic on the bottom of the legs. But do whatever you like, make the pants that you like, because I don't even make it. I make a skirt, and I will show you in this video what kind of skirt I make. It will be a very pleasant one to wear, very airy, as a skirt always is, I think, but a very wearable. No zippers if you don't want to. You have 3 options how to make this skirt, and I think it will look also very nice in this whole outfit. So I'll show you how to make this skirt. Oh, and if you want to make the blazer, I won't make a blazer in this 3-part, because I already made a blazer, I think half a year ago or maybe a year ago. It's called, I think it's something like how to make a blazer the easy way or something like that. It's very easy to do. Also, if you have never sewn a blazer because you find it very difficult looking, I will link it also up here down in the description box, that video, and then you can make a blazer to this outfit, because I already have so many blazers. I have 3 dark blue ones, so I didn't want to make a 4th one. So just watch that video how to make a blazer, and I will show the outcome as I did in the other 2 videos, just with the blazer that I already have. But you can certainly also make a part 4 and make that blazer to your outfit. So I'll show you now the skirt. So this is a drawing of the skirt. It will be just a very plain straight down skirt with a slit here on the side, maybe also here on the other side, with a loose flappy in the front, and same will be on the back. They will be just attached here on the side seam, and they tie together here with strings here on the top and here around hip height, or whatever height you would like to do the second strings. The top of the skirt, I'll give you 3 options how to make the skirt, and it means also how to finish the top of the skirt, so you can choose whatever you are comfortable with of sewing, or what you like in wearing. When you have a skirt, you can make an option with elastic in the waistband or with a zipper on the side seam. I'll give you just 3 options and you can choose. So this will be what the skirt will look like. So for option 1, that means you don't need any pattern. You just take your measuring tape or a ruler and you draw a rectangle onto your fabric that has half of your hip width, and that is just in a straight rectangle. You just add here on the top some fabric for a casing for elastic. Of course you cut that 2 times, one for the front, one for the back. Nothing different, nothing difficult, just half your hip width. And then for the flap, it doesn't come very precise. I took for mine around 3/4 of that size that you have here, a bit left, like I showed you here, that you have here a part of your underskirt, let's call it that, open, and the flap goes on top of it. So I made 3/4 of my total pattern for this, but it can also be half. Don't do much more, because then you will just cover the whole skirt. I don't think that will look very nice. And then for the length, you can choose what you want, how long you want it to be. Also how long, of course, you make your bottom skirt. your underskirt. So you can do a halfway or 3/4, whatever you prefer. And then you have your tie. You don't need a casing here for elastic, but you need here enough to finish that nicely with a nice hem, the way you like to do it. Then for option 2, you will need your basic pattern for a skirt, and I will have a video on my channel. I will link it up here and down in the description box, where you can find that video how to make this pattern to your own sizing. It's very simple, very easy to do. You will use this pattern the way that you like. It is a pattern with darts in the front and in the back. This is the front, this in the back is the back, but because this is a stretchy material, you don't really need those darts. And what you can do is when you make the pattern like this, because you can of course use it for other skirts too, so make it like this. But when you don't want to use the darts now, then you can just fold them in like that, and then you have your waist width here without the needing to sew in the darts. And then you can just use this pattern too, and you can also do that here for the front. I already have here on my basic pattern where I need to cut my side seam when I don't want to use the dart. So you can use this pattern then, and then what you get is your skirt will be like this. You must make some kind of a waistband or just a facing to finish the top, but you will need a zipper of course, because otherwise it will be too difficult to get in if you just make it straight on, or it might be difficult to get in, because you will see option 3, I will do it differently without a zipper. At least I will try to. So then when you do it like this, option 2, you make a zipper here in the side seam. And then you only thing is you might have to elongate your basic pattern. Mine is for the shirt, so I have to make it really more longer. And again, make that extra flap around 3/4 or so from your whole pattern piece. So not 3/4 from your pattern, because this is just half your width, but 3/4 of your whole front and your whole back. And then you can use this pattern for option number 2. Then what I did for option number 3, because I always want to make it different, I somehow use this pattern. As I just said, for option number 2, I took out the dart because I don't want to make the dart, so my side seam will go a bit in, as you see here. And what I tried first, because I don't want to make a zipper if I don't have to, I made a sort of a waistband out of the same fabric on the width of my waist. So what the top of my skirt will be when I just sew it together. But because I wanted to see if with that width I could get it over my hips, because my hip width is much more than my waist. It differs 30 centimeters, so that's quite a bit. And I was wondering whether I would be able to get it over my hips. My fabric will do it because it's very stretchy, but because you will have your stitching where you attach your waistband, or where you attach your facing, or whatever you do to finish here the top, the stitching might pop, the thread might pop, and then you cannot do it like this. So I made a sort of a waistband. It's still very stretchy, to see if I could just get it over my hips, and I could. So what I will do is I'm going to try to make this skirt without the darts, without a zipper, to see if that will work. If not, then I will just put a zipper in anyway. But I want to do that, and I might not even put a waistband on top. I think I will just put a facing here on the top of the skirt, flip that in, and then finish it like that. But I was surprised. I was happy that it was, at least for this part, it was possible to stretch it out 30 centimeters to get it on. And what I did, I just got my basic pattern without the darts from my fabric, front and back. I made the length that I wanted. You see there's quite a bit of fabric underneath. And then I cut the flap for the front and the flap for the back. And again, as I just said, make sure that you cut 3/4 of your whole pattern, and a bit depending on what kind of fabric you will use. Mine is a very thin viscose jersey. you can cut your fabric a bit smaller than your basic pattern. What I usually do when I have a stretchy fabric is I cut my pieces without seam allowance on the side seams. That is normally enough to give me the normal wide fit that I like. This one is very thin, and because I already made some things out of this, I know what to do. I know I need a little bit less than no seam allowance, but if you're not sure, just cut your fabric with your normal seam allowance and see if you need to take it in, and then mark for yourself with the fabric that you use how much you will need to cut on or not. I always did that in the early days, and so that's why I normally know how much seam allowance I need to cut on, or if I can leave it or just make it even smaller than I need to. But you can of course always take it in if it is too wide. I always suggest you to try it on several times before you finish a garment, because just certainly in the beginning you can very easily just make adjustments and make it fit to your shape and size. So that's what I did. I just got it without my seam allowance and just a little bit less, and then later on I'll see if I have to take it in a little bit more, depending on how the fit, how I want the fit to be, because this fabric is very thin and I don't want everything to show through from underneath, so I don't like it too tightly fitted. So now we're going to start with the top part first, because we have to finish the edges of the flap before we attach it to the skirt part. I've got two straps, one for the front and one for the back, that we're going to finish first. I made them 65 centimeters long, but just measure on yourself how much length you'll need when you attach it here to the sides, to go to the side to make a tie on the hip length, or maybe on the waist if you like that more. And so I made mine 65 centimeters wide and then doubled. This is 2 centimeters, so here is the fold, so it's doubled to 4 centimeters. We're going to sew that and then turn them right side out. And we do that now because we're going to attach it here in the hemline. So you will hem here the side of your flap by folding it in twice, and you can of course then just sew your strap on top of it like that, but I don't like it. I want it to be inside my hem like that. I will show you when we're going to do that. So that is why we're going to start with making these straps. And of course you can make them as wide as you like. You can make very small spaghetti straps. You can also make them a little bit wider, that you have more here like a band to tie. You can do that too. Now first we're gonna finish the edges of the flap in the front and in the back. This is the front one, and we're gonna connect two of the strings, two of the straps to that hem we're gonna make here on the side. And because my fabric is very thin, I ironed already in my hem the way I want it to be, like that. And I put on here some water tape. That is double-sided tape that you can sew on, and it will dissolve in water when you wash the fabric afterwards. And this water tape makes it a little bit more easier to sew this very thin fabric, because sometimes your sewing machine doesn't really like it, and my sewing machine got some problems the other day. That's why I'm a bit late with this video. So I had it fixed, but I'm not really sure how it will perform now. So what you can do is you can for sure use this water tape. You can also use a walking foot to make sewing easier for thinner fabrics or stretchy fabrics. That works very well. And you can finish this just with normal stitch, stretch stitch, but you can also use a twin needle, then you have double stitching, whatever you prefer. But it makes it very easy when you use this wonder tape, because it also holds your hem in place before you sew it, and it makes sewing also easier. So what you do, so is I want my strap to be in between the seams, so I'll put it like this. Then I will have to take off here this protective paper from my wonder tape, and I want the strap in between that hem and then going to the outside, because of course the strap has to be that way. You can sew it on first like this, and then when you finish that you can flip it over and attach it. I will do that, but you can also do it just in one row. But because I want to reinforce my straps also, I will just sew it first and then reinforce it by folding it over. For the position, make sure that you have enough seam allowance here to also hem here the top of your flap. So what you can do is first fold in here your hem, and then see where that ends, and then you can place your strap just right where your hem from the top ends, and you can sew that there in between. And then you're gonna finish this flap on the top, on the side and on the bottom. And I like to have my top and bottom hems on top of my sides hem, called like that. So the vertical hem, I like this to be on top of that. I don't know, I like it more. You can also just sew the top first and then sew this on, just what you like, it doesn't really matter. So we're gonna do that. This one on hip length, just measure what height you like this to be, also in between the hem, and then hem it all around. And same for the back flap. Of course that is mullet. Now I'm going to finish all the side seams from the front and the back pads and from the two flaps, but I'm gonna finish them separately. So normally I will put right sides together and make the side seam and finish that in one row or separately, but now I'm gonna sew just the pattern pieces separately. And I do that because I want to be able to have a nice finish here on the side seam to open and sew down my slit in the side seams. So then this is nicely finished. When I sew them together, the front and the back, I will not be able to do that. So and you can do that with a serger, what I do, but you can also just use your sewing machine with a zigzag stitch or a 3-step stitch or whatever stitch you like. And now we're going to assemble. So what I did, I put down my back part right side up, then the back flap with the wrong side to the right side, of course, then my front flap with the right side to the right side of the back flap, and then the front pattern right side to the wrong side. And if you are not really sure, just lay it like it should be when you're finished, and then flip it the other way around. And you can also, when you pin it like this, just check when you open it up if it's okay, if the right sides are out and the wrong sides are in. It's not that difficult. You just must look that you place them right sides on top. Not the right side, but the good sides on top. So make sure the tops of your flaps are matching up with the top part, because otherwise that doesn't look nice. And then you pin that, and you pin both the patterns also on top of that. And here a little bit, because you need here your seam allowance to attach your waistbands or your facing for your elastic or whatever, how you're gonna finish that top part. So leave your seam allowance out. Then put the front part on top of it, and then you can pin that all the way down until your slit. I like to make my slit around 30 centimeters from the bottom. So I measure that out, and where that is, I put a pin to mark it, because that's around here. Because at this point I don't want to sew down the front and the back parts, but I want to sew to close up here the side seam for the flaps, because they don't get the slit. So when you do that, you can pin it here till that 30 centimeter mark. I'll just do it. I have to measure it out and lay it flat nicely just to show you. Then you sew till there, backstitch that, because so that you have it nicely secured. Then you put your front and your back out of the way, and then you can close up the front and the back flap. You can just sew that down. Then you have this nicely closed. This is still open, and later when we finish the slits, you can just fold them over and top stitch them, and then you have nicely finished your slit too. You can do that into the bottom hem also. So you just sew this in 2 rows, and of course the other side just has the front and the back pattern. You can just sew that till your slit, do a back stitch there, and later again we finish here the slit. So now you should have something like this. And of course, when you've decided to make a zippy on the side seam, you can do that and close that side up. Now what we're going to do is finish here the slit parts, and you can do that when you have ironed the seams open. You can easily do that just by folding in the seam allowance and pin that down, and then you can sew that together going into the hem on the bottom and the slit on the other side. So you just fold the seam allowance in also on this side, then go into your hemline, and then the slit here underneath your extra flaps. Now the only thing you have to do is finish here at the top of the skirt, and you can just sew on a piece of fabric the same width as your skirt and use that as a facing, maybe reinforce it a bit and then fold it under and top stitch the top part. What I did is I cut out a strip of fabric the same width as the top of my skirt, and I doubled it up, so this is like a sort of waistband. And I cut out a piece of elastic that I made a circle of by just sewing it together and make a box stitch. Because I tried this skirt on already several times and it's already stretched out a bit, so I need some elastic to keep it in my size. And you see it's not much, but it's just enough to have your skirt sitting too loose on the waist, and I don't like that. So now I'm sure when I insert the elastic into the waistband that my skirt will always fit in my waist. So I just cut this piece and made it a circle just by sewing it in round, and then I pressed it down. I will then insert my elastic into that waistband, because then I don't have to insert the elastic later on. So just open up the double folded piece, place your elastic inside, and then again pin it on the edges. So just fold that all the way around, and then you can just lay that on top of the skirt of the waist and stitch that together. When you flip it over, then you're totally done. You can still top stitch or understitch the seam allowance if you want to. I think I won't do that because that's another risk of popping your thread end. So I first sewed the waistband separately with the elastic encased, so I zigzagged it down to make sure that the elastic is nicely in between and not sewed on, because the elastic has to flow nicely into inside the casing. And then I pinned it on the top of my skirt, so I can now very easily sew that together and then flip it back on, and then you have your top of the skirt nicely finished. Final look of the whole outfit with the skirt instead of the pants, because I really think it looks better with pants, but I just don't like to wear pants, so I didn't want to make another one that I won't wear. But you saw in my former video where we made the hoodie shirt, I wore it with dress pants, and I think it looks more nice with that than with a skirt. But still, I prefer to wear it like this just because I like to wear skirts more than pants, and also I think it looks very nice. I don't know if you can see my shoes. I paired it with some loafers to keep it casual but also water classy, and also of course put some heels underneath, but then it's not that casual anymore and not that comfortable anymore. And this is just very nice to wear. This fabric is very thin, that makes it a little bit difficult to sew. And also it gets wrinkled that much, well, not really wrinkled, but you can see maybe now I just ironed it, but you can still see some folds, and so, but I don't really mind. I also have a thread here. I don't really mind because that is just the fabric and I like this fabric. But if you're not really experienced sewer, I would advise you to buy a little bit more thicker viscose, because viscose is a very good material, very breathable. It's a natural material, it's not synthetic, so I like that more than all these synthetic ones. But please feel the fabric, try to feel it. If you buy online, just order a sample so that you can feel how thick or how thin the fabric is. They always write it with the description, but I often don't really know then how the fabric is, so when I don't really, when I'm not really sure, I order a sample to feel how it is, and this is very thin. That makes it rather difficult to sew, and what I said in wearing it, but it is a very nice material, very breathable. It's very nice also to travel in, just because it is flowy and that thin, and I really like this outfit. And when I show you just the skirt, I made that waistband on top with elastic, so that when I put it on quite a bit, the elastic will keep its shape and it won't wear out. Because I noticed that when I had tried it on several times without some structure on the top, it gets wider and wider, and this elastic will keep it nicely in shape. And you see with that flap, I really like that feature. It's just an extra layer that is flowy and loose, and it gives it some movement. You can also tie the top part a little lower, and also this little lower. Then you get more of drape. That is also very nice. So you can just play around with the flap to give it another outcome what you prefer for that day. And I think this is just a very versatile, nice skirt to wear just on its own like now, or in the whole outfit. That is very nice and classy to wear for every day. So I hope you like this video. If you make the pants to this outfit, please send me a photo so that I can see what you make and how it looks. I'm sure it will look really, really nice when you make the same fabric for the hoodie shirt and the pants. So I really like to see that. And this outfit is done. If you want to make the blazer too, I mentioned it before in the other videos. I made a blazer before and I have lots of blazers, so I didn't want to make another dark blue blazer because I already have 3. But I made a white blazer, I think half a year ago, that is very easy to make. It's called, I think, the easy to make, how to make a blazer the easy way or something like that. I will link it down in the description box and up here in the corner where you can find that video. Then you can make the blazer to this outfit also in dark blue, and then you have made it all to yourself, and then you have a really nice pieces to wear together or just by itself. So I hope you like this video. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll get back to you almost the same day always. And I'll see you again next time with a new outfit, because this whole outfit we finished, and we go on with the next one, and I have a very nice one for the next video. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.